So today we are speaking to Horrorcubes. It was a very interesting conversation. It's such a nice project, and the people behind it are so nice. What I like the most is just the way they're just open about everything, and they're creating something with a lot of heart. And you can tell from this conversation that he loves what he does. And actually, the Horrorcubes were the only collab artist that ended up making a one of one for each one of their 100 tokens. So here it goes, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello there, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How
Yeah,
are you,
it's
man?
very, very good. Yes. So me and you met, I think, a little before we came onto the Cute Creatures project, right? We spoke a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit once or twice before, and we were
yeah,
talking about a few things. And then this came up, and then we decided that you guys can make some cool accessories for the Cute projects.
yeah. I think it's a really cool initiative, and we wanted to collaborate. We have been
Yes.
doing some art for some of our followers or some other projects, and when we saw your project, we thought that we could add something cool to it. It's like I don't know if you have revealed much about the project. I don't think so,
No,
right?
well, by the time this airs, yes, things will have come out. So by the time we put this on YouTube, yes, things would have come out. But can I just
Okay.
say one thing? You
Yeah,
guys delivered. Like, oh my God, did you guys deliver?
I'm
And
happy to like it, man.
your accessories look amazing. I mean, all of them look fantastic, don't get me wrong. But yours, like, I think people are going to go crazy, especially that yours is like you the way it works, so people know. If they don't know, like, every creator got 100 tokens to do whatever they want. They can do one NFT with 100 copies, or they can do 100 NFTs, one copy each. It was up to the creator to do what they wanted. You guys opted to do 100 different pieces,
Yeah.
each one, and that is going to go crazy. So I played with them while I was testing. I showed you guys, I sent you a few pictures and uploads, and it was so much fun. So before we go into it all, introduce yourself maybe to some people that don't know you.
Okay, sure. Well, my name is Angel. I'm a software engineer. Currently living in Taiwan, in Taipei. I have been following the Cardano project since 2017, and recently, last year, I had the opportunity to participate on the Bluetooth Pioneer program. So when I came out of that, I was thinking, okay, what cool idea what cool project we can do, something that could be fun and it could have some utility on the Cardano blockchain. So, and we came up with this Horrorcubes idea. Uh, I don't know any specific details you want to know in particular, but
Anything
just
you feel like sharing about your background, and then we will go into
uh,
Horrorcubes a little bit later. But if
sure.
you want to give a quick introduction to Horrorcubes also, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So Horrorcubes is a puzzle game that runs on the on chain. It's 100% on chain game, and the idea of the project is that you will get this NFT, which is a horror cube, and then you will solve the puzzles on the cube. And as you solve the puzzles, there is a story that evolves. So every the story is split in chapters. Uh, every time you unlock a puzzle, you advance to the next chapter of the story, and also you unlock some rewards that are locked inside the horror cube. Uh, in the case of the first story, there are several NFTs that are unlocked inside, and as you solve the cube, you get these NFTs out of it, right? So the NFTs are a collectible card. We did like a set of 22 cards based on the tarot cards, but with our own style. And as you solve the
Wow.
puzzles, you unlock these cards. The whole project is based on H.P. Lovecraft universe, so it has a
Okay.
horror theme vibe to it. And yeah, that's basically the gist of the project. We are adding some new cool features recently, like we have a staking that I just implemented like yesterday, and we are gonna have a creatures system that will allow you to use the Horrorcube to invoke these creatures, which are of course NFTs, and then you can cast spells on the creatures, evolve it. There is a lot of details about the system, but yeah.
Super cool. So you've been in Cardano for how long now?
I mean, as an investor since 2017, since 5 years, right?
Oh
Yeah,
wow, you entered early.
yeah. I got into Cardano in November or December 2017. Yeah, and I have been
Wow.
following the. It's my favorite chain. I think it's a really cool technology and my favorite blockchain technology. So I've been following it very closely. So when they release smart contracts, I knew I had to participate somehow. So that's why we created the project.
Okay, so you've been an investor since the 2017. You've probably watched all of Charles's videos, or at least know a lot about what he says. You've seen the community grow. What have you seen in this growth of the community?
Well, it has been definitely been very explosive since I will think since last year, especially in the NFT space. It's been crazy. Like nowadays, you see projects coming like every day. Like there is tens of projects coming every day. There are
Yeah.
some amazing projects out there that I really like, and there is there's a group of people that is pushing the innovation on top of it, because I think right now smart contracts are in Cardano, and because Cardano uses a UTXO model, it's not that easy to develop for it right now. But there is a lot of people that is really pushing to make it more accessible. There is a lot of source code, open source out there that you can use. So I think it's really cool. And yeah, it's been great. I think Cardano will do great things in the near future. I just don't see how it cannot, because honestly, to me, it's like the superior chain. That's the way I see it. I personally move all my investment in the crypto space to Cardano. I only own Cardano, and of course NFTs. See NFTs.
Okay, just to be clear, because you know of the legalities of everything we have to say, this is just your experience. This is
sure.
not financial advice.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
this is what you prefer, and this is what you personally like to do and want to do. You are not telling anyone to do this themselves.
Correct. This is my personal experience with it. Yeah.
Yes,
No
exactly.
financial advice.
So you live in Taiwan. I lived in China, so I speak Mandarin. Do you speak Mandarin too?
I do speak Mandarin, but I'm not that advanced yet. But yeah,
So 一点点，
可以说，
可以说
你呢？
哈，OK。
你可以讲吗？
肯定可以。
很好。
Yeah. So, but let's keep it in English so people don't.
Sure.
I don't need to go and get subtitles. But yeah. So for the Chinese audience out there, or the Chinese-speaking audience, I should say, some people. One thing I found in the community that I loved is that we do have a lot of Chinese speakers in the community. They're usually speaking in English, but we do have quite a few Chinese-speaking community members, and I really enjoyed seeing that in our community.
Yeah. It's really cool. Actually, here in Taiwan, there is a huge movement in cryptocurrency in general, but in Cardano, there are several big communities. Yeah.
Okay, and are you involved with them?
Not really. I don't really like participate in person or go to the outings, but I've been checking like their Facebook groups and stuff, and I see they meet in bars, and I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, but I haven't been able to participate.
Okay, so you came into Cardano, you invested, you started seeing like Space Buds, Berries, Collabits, Cardano Robin, me coming in. So you started seeing us all coming in at the beginning. And then you waited till smart contracts, from my understanding, to bring the Horrorcubes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, go ahead. Oh, yeah. So actually, we were not thinking of doing NFTs ourselves. Like, I mean, this project didn't come like, okay, let's do NFTs. So when I finished the Pioneer program, and I was just thinking, okay, what can I build with this? And I think the most so the core concept of the game is like you solve puzzles and you evolve you go through a story. And this is something I used to like when I was a teenager. I used to play a lot of role play games, and I was involved in a lot of these kind of puzzle communities. They were more like techie puzzles, like you need to solve some cryptograms and stuff like that. So I was involved in a lot of these things. So when I was thinking, okay, maybe we can do something like this, merge these two concepts, but bring it to the blockchain, and it felt like natural to do it with CNFTs because it's like a game, right? Back in the days you had leaderboards, you got points, you had some rewards. So I think, okay, we can do this on the blockchain, and this is how Horrorcubes came to fruition. So it was like a natural way to implement the concept of the project.
So were you a programmer before the Pioneer program, or did you get into programming because of the Pioneer program?
No, I've been a software engineer by trade for over a decade. So I have I really knew Haskell. I really knew.
Because I hear Haskell is not easy for a beginner.
It's not easy. It's not easy because it's a different paradigm. It's not like structured programming, functional programming. So most people learn like the traditional languages that most of them works the same, right? But Haskell is different. It takes time to get used to it. But if you start with Haskell, I think you will get used to the Haskell way of doing things. I'm not that expert at Haskell, honestly, because I mostly do structured programming. But I did some Haskell before, so it was not a big challenge to me. I also implemented my own cryptocurrency just for fun. It's not it's not live. Like the blockchain is not going on right now. So and it was basically a clone of Bitcoin. At Bitcoin, because Bitcoin uses the UTXO model. Well, the UTXO model, yeah. So it was very natural to me when I approached Cardano, because Cardano is based on the same model, just as extended UTXO. So it was pretty easy to me to get on board. Yeah.
That's really cool to hear you say. And I assume you made a lot of friends through Cardano.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of friends, especially when we started the project, we're a small team. We're only me and the artist. And we were very isolated. Like, of course, we were following this project, but we didn't talk to anybody. We didn't interact with the social medias or anything. And once we finished the project, when we started, okay, let's open a Twitter account, let's do all these things. So when we started selling our NFTs, we have 0 followers, and our first tweets had like 0 engagement, and we already have the project going on. But slowly, some people start coming into the program. The community has been growing to the point where we are still a small community. We only have like 300 people on our Discord. But these guys are really passionate about the concept of the game, so that really motivates us a lot. And now I log in, every day on Twitter or Discord, just engaging with these guys. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes, it's really fun to engage with people that love your work, because it gives you this validation, I feel, right? Like, and it makes you feel that you did something that, yes, took a lot of time. Yes, it was not as easy, but then you feel like you did something fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We are having a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, it's a great experience.
How much time does it take out of your day now?
Well, basically, most of my free time, because I do have my full-time job, but as soon as I finish, I come home and it's just Horrorcubes. I working on the game, and I need to split my free time with my girlfriend, and she gets upset sometimes, but I'm trying to balance. I have been trying to balance it a lot, but it's taking a lot of my free time. But at this point, I think I owe this to the people that are already invested in the project. So and I'm also having a lot of fun doing it. So I think this has become like an extra actual job that I need to do. But at the same time, I enjoy it, so it's fine.
Do you think you will ever decide to take it on full time?
I mean, I was hoping if it became very successful, but our project didn't reach that point. So short term, I don't think it will happen. But of course, I would like to. It will be great.
Yeah, because this is something I hear everyone saying, that, like, even me, like, of course, I've been very, very fortunate and lucky to have quite a bit of success. So I was able to put some ADA aside. But at the same time, the thing, people who will watch the videos might hear me say that many times, but one thing I found is that it made me better at my job to do this, because all this chaotic creative energy that I had is now going into this, so that when I am at work, I'm super focused on what I have to do, and whatever creative energy is left is coming out in this focused way for the subject of the job, instead of spacing out. I used to be someone who spaces out a lot, because I have this all those ideas, all of this coming in. But now in the evening, I can come in, or the weekends, do it, let it out. It comes out of me, and then the next morning I'm like, okay, I really still want to do it, but I know it's out there now. I can go focus on this. Do you feel it's the same with you?
Yeah, it's some sort of catharsis, like, because I think everyone has this.
Very good
Everyone
word.
has
Sorry to break you off,
yeah,
but very good word, catharsis. Very, very
yeah,
good word.
yeah. I think everybody has this urge to build, to create, and sometimes when you're doing your daytime job, I think that sometimes it doesn't get that fulfilled, because you get into a routine in your job. You're doing the same things all the time, or similar things, so there is nothing new most of the time. So this, I think you need an outlet. Some people, have hobbies, right? 3D printing, or building
Yeah.
models and stuff. I think this kind of thing also happens when you go into NFTs and building a project. So for me, it's really relaxing, even though it's extra work, because it's something you enjoy so much.
It doesn't feel like work, does it?
It doesn't feel like work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Well,
like
I'll tell you one part that feels like work for me, doing the metadata. That feels like work.
really. Yeah, well, I automated most of it, so I don't have done much issue with it. But it does take a lot of work to, like, of course,
Set it
if you're,
up.
yeah, set it up at the beginning. If you're creating
Yeah.
several projects often, then it can become troublesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I think this is my biggest issue, is that, like, I love it all, but like right now when I'm done with you, I have to go back and check all the metadata for the cute creatures. Sorry, my dog
yeah,
is barking. So yeah, one moment. Tequila, come here. Her name is Tequila.
nice.
Yeah, she's a very good girl. So yeah, so this the metadata for me is probably the one. If I had to choose one part that I didn't like, it would probably be the metadata. Nothing else.
for,
Everything else I
for
enjoy doing a lot.
for me, the biggest struggle is actually, like, marketing of the project, like getting out there, like
Yeah,
getting the word there. That's the thing we struggle the most, because me, I'm an engineer. I like to build things, and my partner, he's the artist, and he likes to do art. So we are not
yeah.
that into. I do feel that part is a chore to me. Like, oh my god, I need to tweet something. I need to think about some way to engage bring new people to the project, and I'm really bad at it, and I suck at it. So that's the only part that down for me.
Does anyone in your community, because one of the other groups I spoke to, that someone from their community ended up becoming their marketer?
So far, we haven't had anyone that showed that interest or had that experience doing that. So we didn't have that yet.
Did you
Yeah, I
ask?
think that's something we're missing. But I mean, it's okay. I think we are slowly growing, anyways. But it will be great. Like, I would like to focus on building. I don't want to be taking care of the marketing aspect. To be honest, it's something that I really don't like. But it's needed if you're creating a project that requires people to participate.
Yeah.
So you need to bring people to the project. Yeah.
So I remember when I sent you the assets and you guys were starting to look at ways to do things. If I'm not mistaken, you were like, the artist found it a little different, but at the same time really enjoyed giving the creatures the accessories.
Yeah.
You said something along those lines, if I'm right, if I'm
A,
recalling it
a bit.
correctly.
I don't remember now, but probably, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because when we did the I think the concept of the creature is really cool, because it's like allows you to do a lot of creative things. I mean, when people see the product, they will understand. And
yeah,
actually, at the beginning, I think we only did like 4 pieces, and we were thinking, okay, maybe 25 of each.
yeah,
But then, the RPC, that's my partner, the artist, he went
yeah,
crazy and started creating, tons of stuff. Like, okay, what if we do this,
yeah.
what if we do this? And then he had, like, at the end, and we did the 100 pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it. I think it was so much fun because it to me, all creators have their own kind of system and they do things differently. But what I really loved about what you guys did is that they completely transform the creature. Like the creature becomes something completely different when you put your stuff on them. And I was like, oh my goodness, people are going to love this. And what I'm hoping is that when people do buy the collab aspect of it, which is where you guys come in, they will get a Horrorcubes, and then they will go and try it out, and they will be like, okay, I'm interested to know more about those people, and then go on your Twitter and kind of find you and interact with
I
you
will.
and play the game. And this is what I'm
I
hoping,
will.
because I you guys know, because we talk on the group and stuff all together, but like my ADA has been tied up into this project, so I haven't been able to buy people's project like yours and many others that came. I even like, I love Job and I love what he's done with the Happy Hoppers, so I had to send them a message and say, dude, look, I'm really sorry, I'm literally ADA broke, I cannot send right now. Maybe once my project is done, I'll go buy on secondary. He's like, dude, don't worry about it, it's fine. But like, I love all of this work that you guys have done, and the fact that now people are probably going to discover different artists through this, especially you guys, because I feel like some of the collab artists are well known, some of them are a little smaller, and I feel some of the smaller ones, they're so good. There's you guys, there is Yo the guy, there's so many really, really good smaller ones that I feel like once you guys bring it all out and they see it and you get the recognition you deserve, it will be so much fun to see that growth for you. So much fun.
I'm happy. I'm happy to hear you like our art. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I myself, I'm not the biggest horror fan, but my partner is. So when I showed the stuff, they were like, "Oh, this is really cool stuff. Like, this is cool, fun." And the Lovecraft picked up on it very quickly. Like, I might not know. I know the name Lovecraft. I know it's horror, but I wouldn't recognize it as quickly as they would. So it was really fun to see to see
Awesome.
someone kind of look at your work and go, "Ooh, this is cool," because they relate to it so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are, if you look at yourself before going into an NFT project, and that person, and you look at this person today, tell me a little bit more about the changes that you've gone through.
You mean as a personal growth thing?
Yes.
What is coming? Well, I've been learning a lot of new things. Like, for example, I mentioned before, I'm mostly about engineering and not much about community managing or getting out there and interacting with a ton of people and trying to keep everybody pleased. So this has been a learning curve for me, and I think I've been come a long way since we started. And it seems like a long time, but actually, we only started on October, so it's only like a few months, like 3 months. But in that short time, I think I've learned a lot of cool stuff, like especially when it comes to handling people, because then when you start growing these communities, you will see that people's have different needs and they have different ideas of where the product should go, and then you need to be able to manage everybody's expectation and try to set a route for the project that please everybody at least on the middle ground. And I think it's really hard to do, but it's something that can be learned. And in that aspect, I think I've been learning a lot about understanding other people's. Sometimes somebody will get mad, like, "Hey, why this project is not doing this, or why you guys are not doing that?" And then you could take it like a bad criticism, but if you think about it, you will understand. Okay, this person really cares about your project, and so he's expressing his passion to about your project in this way. So how can we manage that? So yeah, for me, the personal growth aspect has been in this regard, like interacting with people, learning how to understand other people, and try to manage expectations from a large group of people.
Yeah. I like what you said, that because it is true. A lot of us, of course, some of the, like the zombies, for example, they came in and they were professional marketers and artists, so they knew how to handle communities, they knew how to handle all of that, and they did it super well. I still love the zombies. I like it extremely, and I like the way they dealt with their community and the way they were very upfront from the beginning. Zero utility, like it or not, it's up to you, but we're telling you now, and this is all about the artwork. So you're right, like a lot, but not everybody comes from that background. Not everybody comes from that we know how to deal with people background. And we forget that the words we see on the screen sometimes have a person behind them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that I feel is very important, because when we understand that there is a person behind the words on the screen, and when we stop ourselves from getting angry when someone criticizes us, as you said, and tell ourselves, you know what, maybe they're not getting emotional because they hate it, maybe they're getting emotional because they like it.
Exactly.
And that change of perspective, I love what you said, because that change of perspective we can apply in our daily life also.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's something I really appreciate you said that, because it's something very something a lot of people can maybe take out from this conversation when they're watching it, is that, and this is the whole point of the calls, it's yes, we want to shine a light on your project and Cute Creatures, but it's also to know the people behind it all. And I really love what you said. This is so true. There is humanity in the projects also, and those people sometimes, and you said something at the beginning when you were talking, that you and your designer and your artist were all alone. You kind of felt you were just doing your own thing, and then suddenly you felt people come in and you started going out of your shells, and that I love hearing also. And this is something I heard from the other artists too. So how did that, like for you, when people started buying your NFTs and when you started getting that validation of, okay, other people understand what I did, how did that make you guys feel?
Yeah, it feels great at the beginning because like you say, we didn't talk to anybody about the project. We didn't ask anybody, hey, do you guys like this? We didn't even start advertising the project beforehand. We were building all the project on our own, and we didn't even know this was going to go anywhere. We just thought, okay, we just try it. If people don't like it, well, we tried, but we're building something we think is cool. And I was kind of amazed, like when people start buying the NFTs. I mean, we haven't sold a huge amount, but it's hundreds. So we were like, oh, these people really like what we're doing. And then you start getting the feedback. And then you start seeing these people, because I think this happens in every community. You will have a group of people that is really passionate about your project, that they're crazy about it. They like it so much. So you think, this of course makes you feel really, really good, really good. And then we realize, okay, we can keep building this project in the future, because there is interest. It's not a huge interest like you see other projects, like you say, are experts on marketing their project and they sell out like in hours or days. But you don't need that kind of success to have a project that is sustainable, because as long as there is interest and as long as you have some income to justify the work you're doing, I think you can keep building. You don't need to sell. That's what we think at this point, that we realize, okay, we make enough money to keep building this project for the foreseeable future. We don't need to retire on Horrorcubes. That's not necessarily the point. So, the point is to
Yeah, a lot of people have that mentality that they want to become rich quick. And even though I agree with you with that, even though you, me, other people have made enough to kind of sustain themselves, or more, some people have made more, let's admit it, some people have made a lot life-changing money. That does not mean in any way that you should just stop or you should not keep on building gradually. And the one thing I love in our conversation is hearing you say, it is okay not to sell out. I'm okay not to sell out. I'm okay to slowly grow. That is very important.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you're doing this just for the money, of course, maybe you say, okay, I did whatever I did, I'm out. But if you're doing this because, and I think most of the, I'm not going to say most of the projects, but I think a lot of projects are like that. They do it out of passion for what they do. They will keep building their stuff because they're doing it because they're having fun. Now, if the project is generating enough money to at least not make you lose money, but you can sustain the development, then I don't see any reason why to stop, right?
Good for you. Good for you. I agree, especially that you and me we have our full time jobs that we enjoy. It's not like we hate our full time job. We
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
think yes, I agree with you on that. Seeing it as more of a money generating hobby is very good. And I don't know where I read this, but I read somewhere that some of the best artists do not rely on their art to eat. Like it's not the breadwinner. And I
Yeah,
agree with that a lot now that I'm in this position, because I've realized that it is true in my case for now, at least, because I don't feel like I have to make art for the sake of making it. I make it because
yeah,
it comes out of me, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
And
Yeah.
that's what I think makes this kind of hobby, let's call it, different from your daytime job. My daytime job, I do it when I do things, I want to do it or not because I need the money. Right? You're doing it to
Yes.
survive. Of course, if you're lucky enough to have a job that you basically enjoy, then this different story. But most of us, we have a job that we kind of like, but we will
Yes.
rather not do it. If I had enough money, I won't be working, right?
Yes, of
So
course.
the project, passion project, you have passion project, it's not like that, right? You're doing it because it fulfills you. It's something you enjoy. It's not because you need the money. When it comes about you need the money, then I think you will make a lot of compromises or decisions you wouldn't make if you were doing it out of passion,
Otherwise.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that. It's very important to also note that passion is important, but passion doesn't put food on the table.
exactly. Yeah,
Yes, and I hate to say it because I am a very passionate person, but at the same time, it is the reality of the life we live in
yeah.
for most people. For most people, yeah. So if you had one piece of advice, because you're very fresh and you are really, I mean, fresh in the CNFT world as a creator, and you have gone through a few struggles already. 3 months probably feel like 3 years to you.
Yeah.
So so if someone was coming into the scene right now and wanted to do something different, because you guys are doing something different. A lot of people do games, but not necessarily horror inspired, not necessarily puzzles, not necessarily this. So for
Yeah.
someone that's coming in to do something a little different, not another bored ape or a chilled Kong or a this or a that, what advice would you give them?
Well, first, for the success of I think every successful project must have a strong marketing arm. That's something I learned doing my project. If you don't have anyone in your group that knows how to market, you need to have like an expert person, but you need to have somebody that is dedicated to this and has some experience or at least some inclination to do this well. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because trust. I think one of the hardest thing to earn from people is trust.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to communicate with other people, you don't speak clearly about what your project is about, or you're not that entertained, people is not gonna trust you. They don't know who you are, and then you're not very communicative. It's gonna be hard. So you need somebody that can handle marketing, community, and ideally that knows the space well. That knows all the
Mm.
big names, that maybe knows some people that can help, connect and advertise your project. So I think this is important for the success of the project. As a engineer, if you want to build, first I will recommend it to go watch the Pioneer Program course. It's actually, even if you don't get into the program, all the content is out there, is free. Yeah, they made it public in YouTube. You can watch all the videos. There is also a Discord for developers that you can join. There is, of course, a lot of great source code out there, like the Spacebots marketplace, and a lot of people are building now. It kind of bothers me a bit that most projects right now are not open sourcing their stuff, but luckily there are good ones. There are good projects that are doing that. Like, for example, the Spacebots project, he open source everything, and I think like 99% of the projects out there are basing their stuff in his code. So this is a good source of knowledge.
Yeah.
Also, the GitHub from the guys from Emurgo, there is a tons of conversation that goes in the GitHub issues that you learn a lot from that. And there is the Cardano Development Forum. I don't think many people visit that, but also a lot of great content there. is on the Cardano forums, and also of course, Stack Overflow, but it's not Stack Overflow, sorry, it's Stack Exchange for Cardano developers. Also a great source of information, although it's still small. So that's from the technical part. And for the art, I think you need to have passion. I mean, you need to have passion for what you do. I think there is a lot of appetite for different kind of art styles. So, you don't even really need to cater to any. You can do your own thing, I believe, because there is somebody that will find it beautiful. Somebody will appreciate it. Because I think we are a big community, actually. There's many different kind of people in the CNFT community. And if you're doing your stuff with passion, people will find it and they will buy it. That's what I think.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with you. There is a market for everybody. There is always someone who will like your work. I also see that there is a certain aspect or a certain look or a certain type of art that seems to be more popular at the moment, but that is normal. There will always be something fashionable and something less fashionable. That's very, very normal.
Yes, the mainstream stuff is more popular because I think also a big chunk of the people that invest in NFTs, they do it as an inversion, right? Not because necessarily they love the art, but they think, okay, I can put money and make more money with it. And I think it's fine. It's part of the game, right? The cryptocurrencies and NFTs, that's part of the game. So there are some people that say, okay, this project A had a lot of success. Now there is this project B that is similar. I think this could be successful as well. So they will gravitate to those kind of projects. I see that a lot. And I think a lot of projects are based, kind of like you say, they're very similar because they see, okay, these guys have success. I think I can do the same. And they do it and replicate it. But I think that won't last for long. Eventually, it will be saturated. If you have 100 projects that look the same, then they're not unique anymore, right?
Yeah, that's very true. And at the beginning, I felt the pressure that I needed to drop a PFP project because everybody was like, why? The big names or the people that are known in the CNFT community should be dropping PFP projects. It was this big thing that everybody had to do it. And honestly, the cute creatures have been there for, like, the base of the cute creatures, at least, I had designed 6-7 months ago. So this is a very long coming, like this project was coming, but something in me said, do not drop it. I did not want to drop something that, one, was a bit too similar like the others. I didn't want something too cartoonish. Nothing against it, but I think there's just too much of it out there for me to come in and add. Like, I didn't have anything to add to it. And then, of course, like, I wanted it to be my style. I wanted it to be my kind of thing. So when I designed them and I generated them, I loved them. I said, okay, I hope people understand them. I hope people see the abstract look on them because they are quite abstract. And then I was inspired by two things. I was inspired by NFT Maker Pro. You remember when they had their little game that you can play with the waves and the colors and you can mint that NFT? I was inspired by that. And I was also inspired by the Robotos on ETH, because they did something where you can design your own robot, but I don't think you could mint it. I didn't go that far, but I like that interface. I was like, oh, this is cool. It reminds me when, we were playing with our, I don't know if you've ever built a bear, the Build-A-Bear.
Build-A-Bear? No, not familiar.
So Build-A-Bear is this one thing where you go into the mall and there's a stand that has all those teddy bears, and then you can build the bear. You can turn the bear into an astronaut. You can turn the bear into whatever, and then you take it home when you're a kid. So it reminded me of the Build-A-Bear when we were kids. So where I had the pilot bear, I had this bear, I had that bear, because those are the things I wanted to be when I grew up. So this is the accessories part. But then, of course, I started asking developers if they can do it. And they're like, yeah, we can, but this is how much it's going to cost. And this is how much time it's going to take. And I'm like, ugh, really? There's no way. There's like, dude, it looks easy on the front side, but trust us, the back side. And you as a developer probably understand that more. They're like, trust us, it's not the easiest thing to do from the back. If you want it secure, if you want to make sure no one else can duplicate, if you want this, if you want that. So, yeah, I agree with you that there is a lot out there and there is a lot that speaks to people out there. But I like it when people take the risk and come out with something a little different. Like you guys with your horror cubes. Already, horror and cubes, we don't see much of. We see dystopian, but we don't see horror.
Yeah, and actually, we are not a PFP project because I don't
Yes.
think people want to put the Horrorcube as their profile picture, because we didn't even think about this when we built the project, right? Like, okay, people is
Yeah.
going to use this as a PFP, which in retrospective, maybe will have been a great idea, but it doesn't match the concept. So yeah, there is, like, I think one thing to play to our advantage, but also against us, is that we were disconnected when we start building the project. So our project has several different things because we didn't know what other people were doing and why exactly. I mean, we know, of course, the big NFT names, but we didn't understand maybe why they were doing what they were doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we did it how we think it should be done. And actually, when we started, we had a huge problem because one of the things I wanted to do is to create true NFTs that were making true smart contracts. And to do this in Cardano, because if you use the regular approach of using the time lock contract, you can use by CLI, then there is a period of time where actually the minter can modify the metadata, duplicate the NFT stuff. So
yes,
we wanted to create like, okay, let's do this like a real NFTs that cannot be modified once minted, like atomically create them. But then the way to do this in Cardano initially is to you create a smart contract that ties the UTXO that is consumed when you mint in the minted transaction. And because you cannot double spend the UTXO, then the NFT is unique. But the problem is that every time you do this, you create a new policy ID. So our project at the beginning was creating a new policy ID every time we minted an NFT.
Oh, wow.
And then when I come out and try to, okay, let's publish in a marketplace, they're, well, you're crazy. I mean, you're going to have 10,000 policies. No, we are not going to do that. You need one policy or a few per project. And to us was like, oh shit, we didn't know this was a thing. Like you need to have one policy. Yes. So I had to spend a lot of time and research to create a new smart contract that allows to have one policy ID, but the same thing, like you can only mint once. So we had these kind of shocks with the infrastructure that is out there and the way community was doing the things, because we were not connected. So at some point,
didn't Alessandro come out with something recently?
Yes. Actually, we had a chat on the Twitter thread, because the thing he proposed was what we already implemented. So it's funny, we get to the same idea basically by separate. Okay. But he showed we did basically that, what he proposed. I think that's one of the only few ways to do it.
Okay.
And yeah, so what that kind of thing play against us, because then we are not that PFP friendly. So maybe people won't feel that appealing to get the Horrorcube, or we are not very compatible with our marketplace. But at the same time, we have some unique features to our project because we didn't know what was there. I think if we were out there before, we will be influenced by the other projects, and their Horrorcubes will be totally different now.
Yes, and that's why I like your project, because you are quite unique. And I think uniqueness sometimes might not translate into quote-unquote success, but there will be a time when enough people appreciate that uniqueness where it will get to the point where it is successful. It's all about the long run. It's all about looking at it in the long run and going towards the long run.
Yeah.
So wait, you guys came up with that? You guys published that idea before Alice or after Alice?
Before he tweeted about it. I don't know if he was working beforehand, but we actually had it implemented and running on the mainnet before he published the tweet. So we did it first. And
good for you.
The idea is not exactly the same, actually, but it's very similar. It's basically to use a separate contract with a counter, and then you use as an input. It actually involves two contracts to mint the NFT. So you need one contract to keep an account, and then the second contract takes the first contract as an input, and then you use it to mint it.
Oh, very interesting. And then once the count goes up to 10,000 or whatever the PFP thing, it closes it.
You could do that, but actually we didn't do it like that. Because we have like our capacity for the counter is like a maximum amount for in 32 bits integer, because actually we reuse, because deploying that costs actually money because you need to create an output with an NFT inside. Every output needs to have some ADA, so it costs money to do that. So what we did is we had a counter contract basically that gives us unique IDs every time we need it, and we have like 4 million IDs, and we use that in all our collections. So every time we need a new policy ID for a new collection, this contract reuses the counter contract. So we reuse it for a lot of different things.
Very interesting.
But you can do what you say as well. You could use it as a way to limit the maximum possible minting.
I think that's if I understood, because I'm not a programmer, but if I understood what Alice said, what I said kind of goes with what he did, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
you
what
can do it like that. Yeah. It's exactly the same concept. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. And I want to thank you for bringing something different to the community also. Did you publish your contracts and stuff, or are you keeping them for yourself?
Everything we do is open source and is in our GitHub. You can choose Horrorcubes. We have everything there, our contract, everything we do, smart contract related is there, our minting, our game contracts, because our game also runs on the blockchain and the contract is there. And we have the policies, the minting policy thing with the counter. Everything is open source. I think
go ahead.
Because we consume a lot of open source material to develop our project, right? Like the SpaceBots marketplace. I could implement our DApp because he made that thing public, and his wallet is public. So I think we owe the same to the community. If we are coming here and we are taking your stuff, we are gonna give up back the things we are building. We have built some other cool things that you can check on our GitHub. But yeah, I think that's how open source should work.
Yeah, and look, I agree with you. I love open source. I think a lot of things should be open source. I think I've said this to you guys in the group. I will open source what we did to the mechanism to do this. I'm sure someone else can build it. I'm not saying they can't, but we do want to bring this kind of interactivity to the CNFT space. So I will be open sourcing that once I get my money back.
Of course, you want to keep your competitive advantage at first, right?
But at least until I make back my ADA, because I feel like I spent a lot on this, like not only my energy but my ADA. So once I get my ADA back, I am more than happy to make it open source.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fine. I think there is one concept that we manage a lot of software development that a lot of people really sometimes think the idea is really valuable, but actually the idea is most of the time overrated, because like you say, many people can have your idea. The key is the implementation. So that's what has the value, not the idea. The idea, anybody can think of the same, but can they implement it successfully, right? So I think the implementation is what holds value.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that one. So in terms of next steps for your Horrorcubes, where are they going to go next?
So right now we are planning to deploy, because the game itself, we already deployed on the testnet. We deployed like a demo on the testnet, but it's not really deployed on the mainnet now. So the first step will be to deploy a beta test story. It's a short story, but it's still going to reward Horrorcube owners 2 NFTs and our native token, which is called Insania. And after that, we are going to deploy our own marketplace and our website, so you can trade our stuff in our website. Then we are going to deploy our main story, which this is all happening in Q1 of this year, which has 10 levels and has 5 NFTs inside. So this is another thing. Our Horrorcube may seem a bit expensive because it costs 40 ADA, but for this 40 ADA, you're minting this cube, you're getting a lot of NFTs out of it, because once you solve the cube, you will unlock 5 NFTs from the main story and then 2 NFTs from the beta, the demo story. Yeah. Then
do they have to pay to mint it?
No, for the main story, no, because it's included on the price of the.
So they only pay the transaction fee.
They pay the transaction for playing the game, right?
Yeah.
So every time you solve the puzzle, you need to pay the transaction fee because you're interacting with the blockchain. So that that we cannot cover, but all the minting is included for the main story is included in the Horrorcube. We do plan to eventually release more stories, and for those stories, the Horrorcube owner will have to pay the minting fee, because otherwise we cannot afford it. We cannot afford to mint
of course,
thousands
of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
but for this first story, is included on the Horrorcube price. We also have our creatures system that we're implementing right now. We have a staking live, and Horrorcubes earn passively a currency that is called Insania, and the idea is that the currency will be used to create other creatures that are NFTs that are going to be evolving. We're going to be developing a new standard for stateful NFTs, where you will have the state of the NFT on the blockchain, and then you will be able to change the state of the NFT through interaction with the smart contracts. And then you will create these creatures, and you will
That is
evolve
very
them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's something that we need, because we are doing a lot with NFTs, but our NFTs right now in the space are not smart contract enabled, because the way we are doing it right now is we put the attributes on the transaction metadata, but this information is not accessible from the smart contracts. So in order to be able to use our NFTs data inside smart contracts, we need to move that inside the blockchain. And the challenge there is because now everybody supports is the SIP25, which is the metadata standard that was created for spacebots. If you do something different, then your NFT is not going to be compatible with anything. So we are going to do something that is backward compatible. Probably the NFTs will implement both standards, basically. But that's why we need to create our own marketplace and basically everything, because otherwise these new NFTs cannot be visualized correctly in the normal platforms.
PM or something,
yeah, because it's different standard.
Yeah.
But so that's coming, and in the short term, that's what we are going to be deploying this year.
Very nice, very nice. I love hearing about that. So I want to really thank you for your time. I think you gave us a lot of good input. I love the technical side of it because you explained it in a way that was not very technical. So someone like me or someone that does not understand it too much will grasp at least what you're saying. And someone who is technical like you can really understand what you're saying and go on your GitHub and find those things. Do you want to tell people what is your GitHub name so they can go find the stuff?
Yeah, I think it should be just let me double check, but it should be GitHub /Horrorcubes. Let me verify.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be just github.com/Horrorcubes, and then you will find it.
Horrorcubes. Okay. Interesting. That's very nice. Anything you would like to say to people before we end the call?
Well, first, thank you for having me on the call, and thank you for letting us participate in your project. I think it's really cool. I think people will love it. Also very unique. Haven't seen anything like this before. I think people is gonna have a lot of fun with it. And if you have time, guys, come check Horrorcubes. See if something you like. We have a lot of cool stuff going on, and yeah.
I'm really waiting for you to finish your standard, the new one that you want, because I always thought about are those games really on chain, and I don't think many truly are on chain. So
yeah, right now I don't think. Right now, it's actually not possible following the SIP25 standard. I don't know. Maybe somebody will come with a creative idea, but I don't see how it's possible because the metadata is outside the reach of the contracts. The contracts cannot access that data. So there is no easy way to do it. You will need to deploy something extra. That's what we are gonna design. That is basically you keep the metadata in an output. Yeah.
Great. So thank you again. And I really appreciate your time. So have a great evening. I know it's nighttime there in Taiwan right now. And stay safe, and we will talk soon.
Okay, sure. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.